Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is Jeff Stanislow, and it's time to go low right here on AM 820, where Golfers Unite is bringing great golf content to you every Saturday morning from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on the Big 8 in Tampa. Today, our program is brought to you by Back Nine Golf, and Back Nine is opening up in Carrollwood. You should check it out 1st of May. Check out for grand opening specials, discounts, and what have you. Search up Back Nine Carrollwood and you'll find it. Today we have a special guest. Doug Russell and I have got to know each other over the last few months talking about golf. And as an entrepreneur myself, Doug is an entrepreneur too. And I think you're really going to like today's show because we're going to kind of get in underneath the hood of the golf industry, building golf brands, partnerships, and processes that a lot of people don't want to do. Everybody thinks golf is this glamorous place. I'm going to start a brand. I'm going to make millions selling to all the golfers, and that's just not true. Doug Russell, founder of Infinity Plus Consulting. Thanks for joining us here today, Doug.
Thank you, Jeff. Great to be with you. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, so Doug, you've been in the business for a while. You're an entrepreneur. And you've worked in some golf stuff. And before we kind of dive in, tell us a little bit about your background and, why you kind of selected golf to emphasize some of your skill sets.
Well, the long story short, really, Jeff, is that, getting involved in the golf world was a no-brainer. I'm a golfer myself, always been entrepreneurial. And the golf industry, as you know, has been booming post-COVID. It's always been a big industry, but it's getting bigger and bigger than ever. And in working with entrepreneurs, we've seen the opportunity to get proprietary type products and services into the market. But as you said, there's a path that needs to be taken. Just because you have something great or unique doesn't mean you're going to be a success. It takes time, it takes relationships, and it takes strategy. So we've been successful in getting some really unique products in front of the right people. And in doing that, we've helped companies grow. And that's how I've always been as an entrepreneur, is trying to grow myself and helping others grow as well.
That's a good premise for a mission statement for any company is, help your clients or brands grow and grow yourself. You're listening to Doug Russell, and Doug is the founder of Infinity Plus. Doug, it helps businesses grow, does a lot in the golf world. Doug, maybe for our listeners that might be thinking about a golf brand or bringing a golf brand to market, we all see the ones that, hey, I got a logo idea. I'm going to get a company. I'm going to build a website. I'm going to do social media. They get out there and they sell it to their friends and family. And then next thing you know, they don't have any customers and they're trying to get distribution. They're trying to get partners and a lot of them fail. Tell us some of the biggest pitfalls, or you talk strategy when building out a golf brand. What are your top recommendations for someone that might be considering building a golf brand?
Well, I think the biggest thing is to manage expectations. As you were saying, you can't just expect to enter the market and become a success overnight. There's so many different channels now that you can bring your product to market, but at the end of the day, you really need something unique, you need something proprietary, and you need something that consumers are going to want. There's a lot of competition, but if you have something proprietary, and when I say proprietary, meaning something unique and different that you should really get protected legally, because a lot of people have ideas, thoughts, and inventions, but they don't know what to do with them. So in starting from a step-by-step process is to get your idea on paper, get it legally protected, see where the opportunities are, and then come to a company like mine, and there are many others, of course, like that understand the market and can get you to the right people. I use the analogy almost like my company in a much smaller scale is like a mini Shark Tank. We bring the funding, the prototyping, the legal expertise, the manufacturing, the distribution, all those pieces become a huge factor in anyone's success. People just think, oh, I'm going to go into, the PJ Superstore or one of the major golf retailers. Well, that's probably not the right step. The right step is to gain traction And it's happened to me on a number of occasions with certain products where the retailers say, get some traction, then come to us. And now, as I said, since there are so many other ways to sell product via TikTok, e-commerce, Amazon, sometimes you don't have to go to brick and mortar any longer. But the idea is expectations have to be managed, and it really is crawl, walk, run.
Yeah, you're right. This is Doug Russell, the founder of Infinity Plus Consulting, helps startups, consumer products, and has a focus in golf. Some very good words of advice there, Doug. It takes time. And I think, a lot of people think that these channels are out there and available, and that they're just going to go attack, they're going to be the next good brand, overnight sensations. They are in a very competitive marketplace, and you have to cut through. Those are the 1%, or I'm going to be a golf influencer on TikTok, and I'm going to be the next Grant Horvath. And, that's the 1%. And they put in 10 plus years already in these ecosystems to build that brand, and just now starting to see the tremendous success. This is Jeff Stanislaw. You're listening to another episode of Let's Go Low here, brought to you by Golfers Unite, golfersunite.com. This episode and the rest of them will be on our website at golfersunite.com. And our sponsor this week is Back Nine Golf in Carrollwood, brand new golf simulator company opening up in Carrollwood. It's a franchise, one of the fastest growing golf simulator franchises in the U.S. Just search up Back Nine Carrollwood and check it out. So Doug, shifting gears into, just the brand and the brand strategy, what do you recommend to the people that they start putting on paper? What do you ask them? Is it, where are you at? What differentiates you? Where do you want to be? Who's your target audience? I think a lot of people really don't dial in their customer. Any more thoughts for our listeners, just kind of on, on that?
Yeah, well, I think identifying the customer is the most important thing, and especially with golf, despite its growth and expansive growth over the last several years, it's still kind of a niche industry, but it is backed by a lot of money. And as any major industry, it's dominated by some of the major companies, whether their equipment or their apparel or their now technology. The technology has become a big player in the industry. If you go to the PGA show, you'll see that the show is now dominated by simulators, by technology companies, by people that are, getting away from, just the regular teaching. But again, the idea of where the market is it still has to be unique, and it still has to be, you can't be a commodity or me too. If you think you have this greatest new golf shirt or golf shoes, that's not going to work. It's more about what's different and what's going to separate you from the others in the industry.
Yeah, a lot of it is collaborations too. You see a lot of these larger brands working with some of these smaller emerging brands that may have a unique design and, doing collaborations. A good example of that is recently Bogey Brothers Golf just did a collaboration with Hooters and brought a Hooters line of golf shirts and merchandise to market. And Bogey Brothers is probably, it's a decent brand name. They have great quality, but it's probably not as widely recognized. So they partnered up with Hooters, who gave them huge marketing prowess in regards to it. Doug Russell, founder of Infinity Plus Consulting, does a lot of startup and consumer products, and with an emphasis in golf. So Doug, take us behind the scenes on one of your projects. And we had some conversations offline about T-Tender, and tell us a little bit about what the premise of that is and how you help this organization grow.
Yeah, it's a great story and a great question, Jeff. T-Tender is a golfing team device that enables golfers to tee up the golf ball without bending down. It really started 40 years ago when one of my partner's grandfathers developed this idea because their group was getting older, and they were having trouble teeing the golf ball up. They couldn't last a round. Their backs were bothering them. They're having health issues. So our device, which is 40 years in the making, which is it's basically a labor of love, is now on the market, and we've streamlined it, because when we first got the prototype, it must have weighed 20 pounds. Now it probably weighs 1.5 pounds, and it enables golfers to tee up the golf ball without bending down. It's a very unique item. It's patented, back to my point about being legally protected. And it works for both senior golfers or people that are rehabbing from injuries, but it's also great, and we've gotten a great push in the adaptive golf world, in the handicap golf world. We're at many outings, we're at many events, and we have many influencers who are handicap golfers of all ages and adaptive golfers that are using our device. It's also great for teaching pros. So rather than doing a teaching lesson where the pro has to, let's say, bend down 100 times during a driving lesson, now just uses our device to tee up the golf ball and place it in the ground with very little effort. And that has become a lifesaver and a game changer for many golfers, not just seniors, but of all stages. And it's become a great item. We started out doing it through Amazon, and we're now, after about 1.5 years post-launch, we'll be in some of the major golf retailers in the Southeast. So it's shown the evolution of how the product comes to market, how it catches fire, and people can use it. It's in pro shops. It's in many other venues over the past couple of years.
That's wonderful. We're talking with Doug Russell, the founder of Infinity Plus. This is Jeff Stanislaw. You're listening to the Let's Go Low show here on the Big 8 AM 820. Saturday mornings from 8 to 9 a.m., brought to you by Golfers Unite and Back Nine Golf. Doug, you said the idea, the concept was 40 years old in regards to it. That just basically says, like, okay, you have an idea and a concept, and maybe it wasn't time to bring it to market, or it was time to kind of flush things out. Sometimes this doesn't happen immediately. You said you had a prototype that was 20 pounds, and now it's a pound, 1.5 pounds. You had a different market segment that you were going after, and now your market segment has grown from handicap golfers, accessibility challenge golfers, to now, even like you mentioned, the sim golfers who they play 36 holes of golf, and they can grab their golf ball and use the tee tender to set their golf ball down and save their backs. I love the progress and what have you. Can you tell someone, if they're interested in that product, where they need to go to check it out?
Yeah, very easily. Thank you. It's teetendergolf.com. So it's TEETENDER golf.com. And we can expedite shipment on the items very quickly to whomever is interested. There's a great video on the site which will show you how it works, how to tee it up. Very simple. And one point that I just want to make, that the idea was brought up many years ago. It went on the shelf for a while when the golf foursome that came up with it had some issues from the health perspective, but we brought it to life, and that's why I said before it's a labor of love. But yeah, teetendergolf.com is the website. Lots of information on there. We have some pro golfers who are supporting it and endorsing it, both on the senior tour level. One of our golfers is Jason Karen, who many of the golfers will know, who's a senior tour pro and doing extremely well on the tour. We have it in his pro shop. And we have many other golfers and adaptive golfers behind us right now, and we're looking to continue to get more and more people that cannot play golf, or thought they couldn't play, using our device. It's also being used. We're also working with the military, as you know, Jeff, in getting the T-Tender in front of some of the militaries who have had, of course, unfortunate accidents and incidents, and they may be either missing a limb or be somewhat handicapped. This will allow them to play golf, and that's the best thing about it, is that it's enabling people to play golf that may have thought they couldn't have prior to this.
That's wonderful. This is Doug Russell, the founder of Infinity Plus Consulting, startup consumer product company, strategist, consultant, helping you guys who are thinking about maybe getting in the golf industry or have a product or a brand idea. Definitely recommend reaching out to Doug. And Doug, I'd love to have you come back because I know you have some more brands, including John Daly Cigars and
Yep.
Military Connects that you guys want to talk about. Maybe we'll set up a call with some of those brand leaders and yourself and talk about their stories. But shortly, in the interim, how can someone reach out to you if they got a golf product or a brand that they're thinking about bringing to market?
Well, they can message us on t10togolf.com. I can also my website is a little bit longer and a little harder to decipher, but it's infinityplusconsulting.com. And we'd be happy to confidentially look at anyone's idea and thought, provide some consult on how to bring a product to market. It's very unique way we handle our business, but it's very much proprietary and we like to keep it very simple. We do not want to just basically, we're happy to help.
Yeah, fantastic. Doug Russell, Infinity Plus Consulting. This is another episode of Let's Go Low. Thank you guys for joining and more to come.